I'm FPL Heisenberg, and this is Pimp My Team. Great score. I mean, use a triple captain early doors. I like to save it for a double game week, but I know it's worked out, hasn't it, this week? And other than that, nowhere to really improve. He's managed to save Antonio. He started Basuma this week, but I guess he's got Antonio to bounce back in next week. No Ronaldo is a bit of a worry that I've got as well. Alonso doing really well. Again, a player I've avoided just because I thought that Chilwell would get some of his game time. That hasn't happened so far. So yeah, strong team. I'd pimp this team by possibly look at getting Sarr in. Decore is a player I like, so possibly Ben Rama to Sarr. I know Ben Rama's just got a good score, but a lot of rest and rotation for the West Ham players with Europa League coming up. And Ben Rama's gone off the boil a little bit. Just one lucky goal yesterday. So yeah, I'd look at maybe Ben Rama to Sarr. First thoughts, Williams in there. I guess he was an auto sub for Trent, so that's not too bad as a sub option actually. So that's okay. Again, managed to keep Antonio Bamford Ronaldo, really strong front line. Traore, he got quite unlucky there. Traore is always a player that looks really good on the eye and then just never seems to deliver points, which is why I avoid him personally. And again, Alonso doing the business, a player I'm jealous of. Haven't gone there because of the rotation. So yeah, this week, obviously, Antonio can come back in for Gilmore. Trent can be back in for Williams. So I'd pimp this team by going Traore to the likes of a Conor Gallagher or a Decore, just because I prefer those two as options. They're a little bit cheaper, which means you'll have some money in the bank to improve elsewhere in another game week. And it just gets rid of, I know he's got good fixtures, but he's just quite a frustrating player to own. So yeah, that's how I play it. Okay, so interesting team name here. Bake 1-0 KFC. I'm sure there's a good story behind that one, a good private joke with his mates. But here, a little bit like myself, he's got a bit of a weak bench. He's got Obafemi, he's got Amati. He's got Luca Dean as well. So I feel your pain on that one. Very annoying player for both of us there. But yeah, I'd possibly improve the fringe players. Basuma, Amati, and Obafemi. That's fairly weak. Maybe you could survive one more week and then look at using maybe 2 free transfers on getting some Chelsea defenders in. So Luca Dean to Reece James. So yeah, that's how I'd pimp this team. So a wildcard team, interesting to see that. And it's got some good picks in here. The bench, again, is gone for the tactical, fairly weak bench with the likes of Omer Bamidele and Mendy, really cheap options there. But he has got obviously Antonio to bounce back in next week, which is going to be a lot stronger. And then he can maybe bench one of his, maybe Marcal. So yeah, I wouldn't necessarily pimp this team. I would actually save a transfer. I always like to do that after wildcard. I'd go 3-4-3 this week, start Antonio, bench Marcal, have Marcal first sub as a decent first sub and roll from there. 43, yeah, tough week. Obviously, again, it highlights the importance of a stronger bench with the likes of Antonio, Armati, and Obafemi in there. It always meant that if one player missed out, which Trent did, he'd be down to 10 men. So, and with one of them men being Basuma, who for me is just a bench player. I think this team needs some improvements. Trent's obviously going to bounce back in. But yeah, I'd definitely try and improve the bench options if possible, if you've got some money in the bank. Something like Amati to Livramento. If you haven't got any money in the bank, then Mahrez actually, I missed Mahrez there. I changed my answer. Mahrez has to go. He's just getting cameos. He's about 8.8, 8.9 million, something like that. Far too expensive to be carrying. So yeah, Mahrez to Sarr. Leave that money in the bank to improve your bench at a later date. But yeah, Mahrez has to go. So yeah, good score here. For me, it's a little bit too much money. Well, it's a lot. It's far too much money spent on goalkeepers there because you've got both Edison and Martinez. I prefer to have a 4.5 and a 4.0, spending 8.5 sort of maximum. If you do like the tactic of having one more, an expensive keeper, that's fine, but only have one. That backup keeper should be a 4.0 and just play your strong keeper every week. That's too much money wasted there. Other than that, someone like Declan Rice has to go. useless from an FPL point of view, really. And I would look at the likes of Decore, who's a similar price. If you've got some money in the bank, look to upgrade to Sar. Um, and yeah, other than that, looking pretty good, I'd say. Yeah, so that's how I'd pimp that team. I'd go Rice to the likes of Decore or Sar. 23, um, really poor score. And in terms of, there's been some unfortunate events here in terms of Mendy missing out. That should have obviously been a clean sheet there. But I guess it's a team I don't particularly like. Aubameyang, I'm not convinced on. Torres as we've seen, is a rotation risk. Someone like Matip's not a great FPL option. And there's Greenwood in there as well. So yeah, I think this needs some improvements. I'd look at getting Trent in, and I'd look at downgrading Torres to Sar. So yeah, for a simple -4, you can get that team a lot better. Someone like Fernandez as well. I mean, he was a great asset in the past, and I know he's got 4 goals this season, none of them penalties. But I just feel and he did almost get a few assists, must be said, in the West Ham game. But I think that money's best spent elsewhere. So if you've got a wild card, I'd possibly use it this week. So yeah, interesting one. And again, Trent missing out has probably led to Gilmore coming off the bench, or maybe a Cody. I'm not too sure, but here I like it. He's managed to squeeze Ronaldo and Lukaku in whilst keeping Fernandez. No Salah. I would have kept Salah over Fernandez. But apart from that, once Trent comes back in, Gilmore to the bench, looking okay. Livramento is a decent sub, and Gilmore was a half decent sub as part of a 4-4-2. So I think I'd pimp this team. I actually saving the transfer, bit of a boring one, but like I said, for an early team, actually there is Traore in there. So either save a transfer or I'd pimp this team by going for Traore to Sar. Yeah, so that is another bad week. But yeah, just some advice for anyone listening. If you have had a bad game week, they happen over the course of the season. And I've had loads of good finishes in FPL, but in those seasons, I've had loads of bad game weeks as well. It happens. You just got to move on. And it will happen to mini league rivals as well. Looking at this team, Ings' fixtures are pretty poor. You've got Antonio to bounce back in, which is nice, in place of Gilmore. Luca Dean, again, nice fixture this week, so you want to be holding there. Mason Mount looks a bit off the boil, got taken off at half time. It's a tough one with Mount though, because his fixtures are about to get really nice, so it might be worth holding on to Mount. So yeah, other than that, I'd probably save a transfer this game week, or I'd go something like Ings to Bamford. So that's how I'd pimp that team.